am Adjubintu Drame, and this is QTV Midday News coming to you live from our studios along Keraba Avenue, and thanks for joining us. Our top stories. The long-awaited and much talked about major roads and bridges project in the Upper River region was on Saturday evening officially opened by President Barrow. First Lady Fatouba Barrow on Friday presided over the launch of a Women's Empowerment and Peace-Building Initiative Center in Basai Mansajang in the Upper River region, which will produce reusable menstrual pads. Amnesty International and human rights groups in the Gambia observed World Day Against the Death Penalty on the theme that asks the question, what are the obstacles for the abolition of the death penalty in the Gambia? The day is observed annually on 10 October. The Cuban ambassador to the Gambia on Friday awarded a medal to Modupe Grant, president of the Gambia-Cuba Association, in recognition of his efforts to further strengthen the existing bilateral ties between the republics of the Gambia and Cuba. As we acknowledge World Teachers Day, which was on 5th October, we hear how it was commemorated in Farafenni. Those were our main headlines, now the news in detail. Now, the long wait is over as the long-awaited and much talked about major roads and bridges project in the Upper River region was on Saturday evening officially opened during a historic occasion in Basay. As Aliou Cisse reports, the event brought together thousands, including President Adama Barrow and First Lady Fatouba Barrow.
There's so much excitement in the Upper River region today, Saturday, the 9th October 2021, as people of the region and beyond have gathered here in Basay to witness the landmark inauguration of the much talked about bridges and roads projects here in the Upper River region. This development, ushered by the government of President Adama Barrow, has been something that the people of this region have been yearning for since independence. But hey, the wait is over as these projects are being inaugurated here in Basay. The people of this region will forever remember President Barrow as the man under whose presidency these projects were ushered here in this region. The foundation stone for the construction of this 51-kilometer Basay-Fatoto-Koina road and the Basay and Fatoto bridges in the Upper River region was laid in December 2018. This massive $80 million project, funded by the government of the People's Republic of China, followed the signing of cooperation agreements during President Barrow's visit to Beijing. The construction was awarded to Longjian Road and Bridge Company Limited, a Chinese company. These developments have already transformed the region, and the positive impact on the lives and livelihood of the people is already being felt. It will spur growth and contribute to the socio-economic progress of the local dwellers, as it will provide vital access for the communities. For many years, the people of this region have complained of a lack of development. Prior to these projects, people traveled on bumpy and dusty roads and relied on boats and ferries to cross, but all that is history now, thanks to the government of President Adama Barrow. Several people at the event have applauded the president for these landmark achievements.
We've crisscrossed the length and breadth of this country. It's a joyful day for us as people of this region to official inauguration of roads and bridges in URR. We have cried this thing in Parliament. Even our predecessors has actually cried this in Parliament to see that URR is also considered.
So once it's a development project for the whole country, everybody should embrace it.
Gambians, we should all be together, work for peace, development, and that's all. So that's the agenda anyway. And the next level is to nominate President Barrow as our candidate for the presidential election. And then he wins, and then the new government continue to work for the progress and needs and aspirations of the Gambian, especially the vulnerable one, which are the women and the young people.
While these overwhelmed people of URR and the entire country celebrate these landmark developments, the name of President Adama Barrow will forever remain in the history books of this region as the man under whose presidency these projects were ushered. More from the inauguration in our subsequent news bulletins. Reporting for QTV News from Basay in the Upper River region, I am Aliou Cisse.
First Lady Fatoumata Barrow on Friday presided over the launch of a Women's Empowerment and Peace Building Initiative Center in Basse Mansajang in the Upper River region. The new center, the first of its kind in the country, will be used to produce reusable menstrual pads. As Alucise reports, the First Lady also donated learning materials to Passamas Lower Basic School.
The center is established by the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Welfare with the Network Against Gender-Based Violence through the support of the UNFPA The Gambia. The center is equipped to produce reusable menstrual pads, but also seeks to empower women with the opportunity to access skills in the production of the pads. First Lady Fatoumata Barrow describes the occasion as historic, noting that menstrual health hygiene management is one among several challenges that adolescent girls face, thus limiting them from accessing equitable education opportunities.
In low and middle income countries, practicing good menstrual hygiene is a difficult task for women and girls due to various reasons. I would like to take this opportunity to thank the UNFPA, the Gambia, for coming up with this initiative to support girls and women of the Gambia, and also working closely with the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Welfare to ensure this process is operationalized. I want to assure you all that the Office of the First Lady will give all the support necessary for the realization of this great initiative and other women empowerment program in the country.
Fatou Kinte, Minister of Gender, Children and Social Welfare, said the reusable parts to be produced at this center will be affordable for all.
Because it will be washable and reusable, individuals and families will spend less money on this very important and hygiene product used by all girls and women. The product is environmentally friendly, as it can be used several times before disposing it off. The center will also be used for training girls on menstruation management, including hygiene practices, as well as providing counseling and sensitization of girls and women on sexual and reproductive health issues.
Kunle Adeniye, UNFPA country representative, said the UN Secretary General's Peace Building Fund continues to work for a stabilization agenda to entrench peace in communities.
In many cultures that we are aware, menstruating women and girls are considered impure, are systematically, if not intentionally, excluded from participating in everyday activities. More so, this taboo, as has been spoken before me, is attached to a lot of silence and topical issues, reducing information for women and compromising their menstrual hygiene.
URR Governor Sambaba and Fallou Sow of the Network Against Gender-Based Violence both welcome the new center. It is hoped that people in Basse and the region will make best use of the opportunities that the center provides, and for similar centers to be built in all the regions. In a different engagement, the First Lady revisited Passamas Lower Basic School in the Upper River region, where she donated learning materials to the pupils of the school. The First Lady had served as a teacher at this school in 1990.
Against the death penalty on the theme that asks the question, what are the obstacles for the abolition of the death penalty in the Gambia? As Mohamed Olamichoy reports, speakers at the event have been helping find the answers.
Though there is a moratorium by the present government, the death penalty remains on our statute books and can and has been applied by the courts in handing down sentences for crimes of treason or murder, the most recent high-profile convict being Yankuba Toure, a former member of the Jammeh-led junta and later government minister under Jammeh. Among those advocating abolishment of the death penalty are human rights organizations, prominent among them being Amnesty International, who call it discriminatory and against human rights. Usman Sane is the coordinator of Amnesty International groups in the Gambia.
Many will ask, why do you need the death penalty to be eradicated? It is of great ideal belief for us that the death penalty is against one of the most fundamental human rights, that is right to life. We believe it is discriminatory. It is used against the most vulnerable people in the society.
Having ratified the International Convention for Civil and Political Rights, which protects the right to life and the right to live free from torture or cruel, inhumane or degrading treatment or punishment, the Gambia is considered to be in breach of the second optional protocol of this convention by retaining the death penalty. In the same year, the Gambia ratified the convention, and on the 53rd independence anniversary, President Adama Barrow announced a moratorium on the death penalty, describing it a step towards abolition. The president of the Gambia Bar Association, Saliu Tal, expresses confidence in the government's commitment to the moratorium and the need to take further steps towards abolition through continuous advocacy and engagement with law and policymakers.
I think the primary challenge for me, in my observation, is cultural and religious, because culture and religious informs political commitment in this country. We're very religious people across all denominations. Everything Gambia starts with religion, for sure, both in the Christian and the Muslim denomination.
For some, the death penalty is a deterrent to murder, evidence of which has never been discovered in studies conducted around the world. Many countries with the death penalty also have high murder rates. However, there is the risk of an irreversible miscarriage of justice if evidence later emerges that would have cleared someone. Examples of such miscarriages came to light in 1973 when more than 184 prisoners sent to death row in the USA were later exonerated or released from death row on grounds of innocence.
Given that there's a probability, however slim it may be or otherwise, that people could end up being executed for crimes that they haven't committed, I think it is really important to rethink the notion that we should have this in our books. I think in this country there's wide consensus that we should abolish the death penalty.
Part of the arguments by the proponents against death penalty is that it is discriminatory and used disproportionately against the poor and minorities, observing that those executed are not only those who committed the worst crimes, but those who are too poor to hire skilled lawyers to defend themselves, or those who face particularly harsh prosecutors or judges.
I mean, our judicial system is very much under-resourced. Even in the Western countries, you had cases where there was a case called the Birmingham 6. I mean, it was through DNA evidence that they discovered that they didn't commit a crime. They served decades in prison. In a country where you have the death penalty, you would have been executed.
Responding to a question about the obstacles to abolition of the death penalty in the Gambia, the Dean of the UTG Faculty of Law describes religion and culture as the main factors which call for more advocacy.
For instance, I'm a Nigerian, and I know death row is still in force, even in Nigeria. And you will recall, just like it is in the Gambia, religion and culture are factors you can't just push over. And the reason why we must continue in this advocacy, we must continue in this engagement.
After a unanimous decision last July when lawmakers in Sierra Leone voted to abolish the death penalty, President Julius Maada Bio last Friday signed the bill into law, which is seen as a momentous step that made the West African country the 23rd on the continent to prohibit capital punishment. In the Gambia, hope for abolition for the death penalty was high when the draft constitution clearly stipulates its abolition, which is currently lying in cold storage, waiting for a political consensus among our leaders.
From that story, we will go for a short commercial break. Still to come, we have more stories. Do stay tuned.
Is back. QCell's MiFi router. Get the best MiFi in the country for just $2,800 and connect up to 15 users with 4G internet speeds and a long-lasting battery life. So rush now to any of our customer care locations and get the best for less while stocks last. For more info, call our customer care on 111. QCell, Senior Boss, the Gambia's quality network. We innovate, others follow. Looking for the fastest and easiest way to receive money transfers from abroad? Well, QMoney and Ria just made it happen. Now you can receive international money transfer from Ria directly into your QMoney account with no additional cost. Once you receive an SMS alert about your transfer, walk into any Q-Money agent across the country to receive your payment for free or use the money immediately to buy credit, Q-Power and other Q-Money services. It's fast, safe and convenient. For more info, call customer care on 133. Q-Money, Sunu Calpe. Terms and conditions apply.
Welcome back. Now, the Cuban ambassador to the Gambia on Friday awarded a medal to the president of the Gambia-Cuba Association in recognition of his efforts to further strengthen the existing bilateral ties between the republics of the Gambia and Cuba. More in this report.
The Medal of Friendship awarded to Modu Pay Grant is one of the most prestigious medals awarded by the Council of State of the Republic of Cuba to individuals considered distinguished friends of Cuba for their passionate work, support and solidarity with the people and Republic of Cuba. Speaking through a translator, Cuba's ambassador to the Gambia, His Excellency Ruben Garcia Abelenda, paid tribute to Mr. Grant for his contribution and unflinching commitment to strengthening the historical ties between the two countries, and went on to thank the government of the Gambia for their continued solidarity with the people and Republic of Cuba, especially on the global stage.
Y denuncias de las agresiones contra Cuba.
Whereas the president of the Cuban Institute of Friendship with the Peoples has proposed to award this medal to a group of personalities who are friends of Cuba, members of the solidarity movements, in recognition of their support for the strengthening and deepening of ties with our people.
Mamadou Tangara, Gambia's Foreign Affairs Minister, expressed government's appreciation to the Cuban ambassador for decorating Mr. Grant with what is one of Cuba's most valuable national awards, and gave an assurance of the Gambia government's support and solidarity, especially in international forums.
Cuba is the most African country out of Africa, and you've demonstrated that by participating in the liberation struggle of Africa. And I was in New York. Cuba is the only country apart from African countries that will celebrate Africa Day on the 25th. And sometimes the attendance I see during that celebration, you don't even have it when the African Union celebrates it.
Receiving the medal, Modu Pay Grant thanked the Cuban government for awarding him the Medal of Friendship. Cuba, he says, is his second home. He also called on all African countries to show solidarity with Cuba, especially at the UN.
I thank you all for being here, and I appreciate your presence, especially the very busy ministers and members of parliament who left their day's job to come here. But this medal is not for Mr. Grant. This medal is for Gambia. Every Gambian has a share in this.
Several speakers, including Foreign Affairs Minister Mamadou Tangara, paid tribute to the life of Ernesto Che Guevara, who died on 9 October 1967. Che is a major revolutionary figure of the Cuban Revolution and is described as immortal, having brought freedom to millions of people around the world and contributing to the liberation of several African countries. Guevara visited Algeria, then Mali, Congo-Brazzaville, Senegal, Ghana, Dahomey, now called Benin, Egypt and Tanzania. Cuba and the Gambia have enjoyed friendly ties for decades. The Gambia has benefited from her historical ties with Cuba, especially in the health sector, where hundreds of Cuban doctors continue to serve at various hospitals across the country. And thousands of Gambians have also benefited from the Cuban government scholarships awarded to Gambians each year. Friday's event was also attended by National Assembly members, Cuban Medical Brigade members, and Gambian students recently returned from Cuba. Answane Sonyasi for QTV News.
As part of the decentralization of this year's World Teachers' Day celebration, teachers in Farafenni observed the day with a march past led by Scouts band from Farafenni Senior School through the town to the Lower Basic School, which was followed by speeches.
A profession that builds not only an individual, but also nations across the world observes World Teachers' Day around the globe on the 5th of October. The Gambia Teachers Union is part of this global family, and in observance of this all-important day, the Gambia Teachers Union, GTU, decentralized its celebration and devolved it to regions across the country. What should have been a very big and colorful activity was disrupted by a heavy downpour. However, Teachers defied the rain to take part in the march past led by the Scout Band. Modu Eture, the GTU Regional Chairperson, Region 3, in addressing teachers, applaud them for defying the rain to take part.
I am definitely overwhelmed with the attendance that I have here. I am sure it would have been greater if it was not because of the rain. But with all that, many of us who came in through the rain, on the heavy downpour, and we are here to celebrate World Teachers' Day celebration. This year, the day is celebrated across all regions in the Gambia, and Region 3 is not an exception. Teachers at the heart of recovery of education. That's the theme for this year, and I think this theme is very apt, because considering the COVID-19 that we have undergone in the past year, teachers were in the forefront to fight the coronavirus.
He also congratulated and reminded teachers about why the union was established.
The purpose of the union in 1937, when it was formed on the 9th February, is to provide better working condition for the membership. And that slogan is still binding all of us.
Mr. Toure also mentioned some of the union's achievements.
The GTU has masterminded to ensure that a good number of teachers has been promoted to commensurate the positions that they are having. Another achievement that the union has made is the provision of the credit union.
Amadou Jallo, a teacher at Saba, Lower Basic School, representing the Association of Lower Basic Air Teachers, also spoke at the event.
World Teachers' Day is celebrated every October 5th to recognize the hardships that teachers face in improving the quality of education in their countries.
Mariama Aibalde, a teacher at Mauritania Lower Basic School, says she has no regret about choosing teaching as a profession.
I'm always proud to be a teacher. I like working with the kids, and I encourage everyone to come forward and help the children. They are our future leaders.
Ramin Ndao, teacher at the same school, spoke of some